Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in to the Big Men on Campus podcast. It is July 25th, 2018. I'm your host, the Big Men on Campus. I welcome you into the 5 o'clock hour. Thanks for checking us out today here on my channel. We will get to a little baseball, talk a little college football. We got win totals to chat about. We'll talk about some futures as well. I'll also tell you how you can get my futures for college football absolutely free. All you have to do is stump me on something. We'll do that a little bit later. We'll talk about some other things as well. Um, First things first, I welcome everyone back to the channel. We had our kind of our flagship show start yesterday. Bringing back this channel, which I'm happy to be back. I was in YouTube jail, if you will. Was off for a couple months. Wasn't able to live stream. Was able to do it on another channel I had, but it's nice to be back to the one that made us so much money over the winter. And I'm excited for the fall and winter coming up here as well. So do me a favor, hit the like button. Let me know you're out there and say hello in the live chat. Um, First things first, IFBC, the International Football Betting Conference, being held by SBR Picks, SBR Forum, and then Sportsbook Review out at the Golden Nugget Casino in Las Vegas. I will be there. I'm excited. I know a lot of other SBR personalities will be there as well. A lot of also people in the business, which I'm excited about. We're going to have some different seminars. All the you're gonna get dinner, buffet dinner, poker tournament, all sorts of stuff, absolutely free by coming out. You also get to find out a lot of great news and info from a lot of really smart people. So I'm excited to be out there for that. I mean, you look at the itinerary. I mean, you got all sorts of big time names. Clay Travis, Jason Whitlock will have a agenda. They'll go through their little dais. We have some handicappers: Teddy Covers, Mark Lawrence, Warren Sharp, and then I'll be on a panel with Joe Lisi and Todd Furman. Todd Furman of CBS Sports does all sorts of gambling stuff. Joe Lisi does some stuff on SBR, works for the Fantasy Sports Network. Real good football minds there. So excited to talk college football with them. So IFBC will be fun. I don't know how many people are going, but I'm excited from heading out there and speaking in front of everyone. I think you all know that I'll bring it. We'll also have some fun playing poker. There's some Bob Levy will be there, the Reverend Bob Levy, really funny comedian. He's on the Howard Stern show. He'll be doing some stand-up during dinner on Saturday night. And, best of all, Sunday, there's another day of info. You'll have Chris Andrews from the South Point Casino, Tony Miller, a bookmaker at Golden Nugget. He'll be in the house. Matt Holt, a good friend of mine who I'm excited to see, of CG Technology fame. And then you have the NFL platform with my partner Donnie Wright said he'll be taking care of that. You'll get to see Gabe Morency and all sorts of other people as well. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to heading out there and meeting a lot of people and kind of seeing people in the flesh. It's interesting because I've worked at SBR this will be my fourth year at SBR, and I've never been able to really meet anybody. I mean, other than Donnie and a few others, but any of IBC going to be able to be viewed by general public? I believe. I'm sure it'll be streamed. It was streamed last year when it was in Costa Rica, so I would imagine it would be, yes. Ryan Gosling will be there. Good. I'm glad to see a movie star will be in the house. Let's do a couple shout outs. Ron, great to have you in Lightning Hour on your 5 o'clock. Thanks, Ron. Always good to hear from you. I'll talk about the Yankees in a little. What's up, James, HDC, Henry, Larry, Armin, Frank, Matt, Trey, Taylor, Salty Dog, Nick, Machiavelli, Joe Anthony, Ryan, Chef, Greg, George, all sorts of guys. Welcome in. I don't believe the poker tournament will be streamed, but there will be all the speakers will be streamed. You get to see me in the flesh, and I will be rocking some fine gear, so make sure you check that out. The gear will be out in full force. Let's get into some things here. I do want to talk a little bit later about some college football, but we'll start out with the Major League Baseball card. Not a lot of games tonight. And I will pat myself in the ear and back. How about the luck last night, guys, on the Oakland and National game or the Brewer game? Brewers come back from 4 down. They get the job done. Oakland, they come back from 8 down. They were down 10-2. They win 13-10. How about that? And shout out to, I forget who posted that on the chat here. I forget who it was. Thanks to you. Good call. I don't generally tell people, but you sold me on it. Good call. Do you have to share rooms? You don't have to share rooms. It's a joke. Gabe didn't get that joke. Mitchell and Ness. I actually will have Mitchell and Ness on. I will be wearing a jersey for Mitchell and Ness for sure. I'm not sure which one yet, but yeah, I mean, great luck last night with those plays. You look at some action today, a lot of action today already. You had some interesting matchups. The Mets were able to find a way to get the job done. They went down early in that game against the Padres, got the job done there. Phillies get another win against the Dodgers, 7-3. Another game goes over between the Phillies and Dodgers. And, if you missed out on the overs in this matchup, it sucks. 13 of 16 against these teams have now gone over the number. So impressive stuff there. Nationals beat the Brewers, finally get off the schneid there. Tanner Roark was pretty good today, surprisingly. If he had the over in that game, or the under in that game, sorry. The Cubs beat the Diamondbacks, which Donnie Wright said had choice words for John Lester this morning, and I wasn't happy with it. I like John Lester, and he's pitched well this year. Another terrific outing. John Lester bounces right back and finishes it 2-1 for the Cubbies. And look, another tough loss for the Yankees. I mean, they're now, 8-9 over the last 17 games. I mean, listen, I like the Britton move. I mean, you're shoring up the bullpen, which, obviously I like, and you're adding into a bullpen that's already very good, but you're not addressing what you really need. And A is a starting pitcher, and B, I don't know, maybe a fresh bat in the lineup. I mean, I'm not as big on that. I think most of these guys will get it turned around. Glaber just came back, and with him in the lineup, they're a different team. But, look, I mean, Didi Gregorius has tailed off significantly since the beginning of the season. You haven't gotten a ton out of John Carlos Stanton. I mean, I guess he's up to 283. He's been good. Aaron Judge has been fine. Andujar has been very good, but I mean, Brett Gardner's kind of struggling. Aaron Hicks is back to struggling. I mean, Greg Bird's not giving you anything really. Look, I don't think offense is a big problem for the Yankees. They'll be fine. It's just a bit of a stretch that they're not playing well, but they need to get a starting pitcher. I'm not really sure what you're waiting on. I know there's not a huge market, but why not maybe bring Eovaldi back? When he was on the market, Red Sox go out and grab Eovaldi. There's another guy off the heap. I would make J Happ happen. You got to try to find a way to make that happen. J Happ is pitched in the AL for a long time now. He's also pitched in the NL. So, I think that's a guy you need to kind of look at. This guy was an all-star this year. He's pitched tremendously all season, and he's a good American League pitcher. I mean, you look at his numbers this year. I mean, he's 10-6 in 20 outings. Opponents hitting 229 off of him. He hasn't walked a ton of guys. Doesn't give up a ton of home runs. WHIP is only 1.19. I mean, he's been good. I mean, J Happ's a guy that I'm targeting if I'm the Yankees. I need to see J Happ. If you can grab J Happ, you feel a lot more comfortable about this rotation. I don't feel that comfortable about this rotation right now. So, they need to kind of get it going and figure it out. Couple other games. Tigers are scoring a lot of runs today against the Royals. And there goes my my bet on pitcher. Danny Duffy had looked good, but he gets crushed today. And look, the Tigers against a lefty, always dangerous. They're looking really good today. Let's get into a couple games tonight, see if there's any value on the card. And there is not a lot to speak of tonight on this card. You look at Boston against the Orioles. Obviously, Boston among the best teams in the league, and the Orioles are among the worst teams in the league. Listen, I'm probably going to lay a run line here with the Red Sox. David Price is off of a 6 1/3 scoreless innings against the Detroit Tigers. He was very good in that game. He's pitched pretty well lately. Dylan Bundy has not pitched very well lately. You look at Dylan Bundy, his last 3 starts, he's been an absolute mess. 12 1/3, 15 earned runs, 5 home runs, 6 walks, and a whip of 2.03. So Dylan Bundy's struggling. And an elixir to fix that is not the Boston Red Sox, a team that crushes the ball. They crush righties. Their pitching's been terrific. Boston on the run line looks pretty good here. You got to lay a little bit. That's the kind of the only knock here. If I'm laying a run line, I'm really looking to lay 135. But I guess, there's not a lot of wiggle room tonight on the MLB card. Oakland, Texas. I think obviously people are going to jump towards Oakland here, but I mean, we got to ask ourselves, do we want to bet on Edwin Jackson? I'm not in love with betting on Edwin Jackson, but truth of the matter is he's been pretty good this year. Texas is, just a mess every way you look at it. Martin Perez it's mind-boggling. Martin Perez is still in the major leagues. I would rate him as among the worst players as far as pitchers in the MLB. I don't really understand. I guess you have to really suck to, you look at some of these relievers for Texas. Just complete trash. You look at Martin Perez this year. Righties hitting 398 off Martin Perez, lefties 290. So he's a bit better against lefties, but right-handers are just destroying Martin Perez. Overall this year, opponents hitting 376 against Martin Perez. At home, 3 starts, an ERA above 10. 4 of his 5 starts have gone over the number. Three of his 3 starts have gone over the number at home. That Texas bullpen, we know, awful. Not for nothing. I hate to side with the growing public here, but Oakland looks pretty good again. I'm going to take a shot with Oakland here. They're going to be probably my favorite one here. I like Boston. I like Oakland. Boston on a run line, Oakland straight up. Martin Perez is bad. I don't really know how else to say it. Chicago Angels, White Sox playing some decent baseball right now. James Shields, obviously that ornery veteran they have. He hasn't been particularly good this year, but I guess for his standards, he's looked good. Skaggs has been terrific. He's been the best pitcher for the LA Angels over the course of the entire season. Angels, though, struggling a little bit. This team's lost 5 of 6. They're not playing great, but Chicago can hit lefties, and Skaggs has been unhittable for the most part. I think this is one where the Angels kind of put up a crooked number and get that job done here. So explain this to me, guys. So the Angels are around 220, okay? So they're higher than the Red Sox. So the Red Sox are 210, Angels 220. Yeah, you look at the run lines, Red Sox -1.5, -115. Red Sox -1.5, -135. So it's a 20-cent higher line on a 10-cent higher lower money line. So obviously you see Red Sox obviously very much a popular bet. People love them, and they're going to be priced higher. Lean Angels run line there. Astros Rockies, I think, is a coin flip. It's hard to not take them, though, at that number. Let's go over some comments here. What's up, Damien? I didn't really have any baseball best bets, so I don't really I'm not sure what you mean. I guess you're talking about SBR's best bets. Well, I gave one back. I gave you Celtic Live, so if you jumped on that, that kind of helped you a little bit. Still lost some with soccer today. Boston to win today. Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised by that comment. Nick Dial, Boston run line. I need a big man on Donnie right side duo stat to save my bankroll. Not sure what you mean, Greg. Yeah, we are going to be going into business. You must have missed yesterday's show. We are. We're going to be releasing all the info around August 15th. Um, they have a guy with the first name Bud and a guy with the last name Bundy. Great. Interesting. Great analysis, Frank. I mean, I didn't know that. I don't know who Bud Bundy is, so I can't really comment on that. Oakland bullpen's trash. Uh, uh, Texas's bullpen's trash. I want to face Texas's bullpen. I'll take my chances. What's up, Barry? Um, yeah, we discussed this yesterday. Uh, it's uh, it's 99.99 for both of us. No, I don't know who Bud Bundy is. I have no idea. I didn't. I think that show was a bit before my time. I guess Married with Children. Yeah, I mean, I was only born in '89, so I mean, if it was on, I didn't. I mean, I'm sure my parents watched it, but I was pretty young still. I mean, I guess I would have watched like the final couple shows, but I mean, it ended when I was 8 years old, so I didn't really watch it. But okay, now I know Bud Bundy. Weird name, but I guess he was one of the characters. Uh, are you still going to be doing your videos for SBR? I would imagine. We'll see. That show is huge. Okay. What do you think about the over in the Oakland Texas game? I don't really have an opinion. I would think it'd go over the number. I like Oakland a bit more though. Hit the like button. If you're on Twitter, retweet the show. That's appreciative if you can do that. All of you guys are in here. I know most of you have Twitter, so not really sure why we can't retweet the show. But again, baseball's a light card. There's not. I know wherever you go, whether it's a local bookmaker, whether it's SBR, whether it's bet, wherever, baseball um, is a down season. I know in South Philly, there are bookies that don't even take baseball. So it is a low time right now. World Cup's finally over. We're finally into those dog days. So again, it's no surprise that listening or listeners are down. But I'm excited for the new season. We'll get into college football in 1 minute. I do want to throw out something to the listeners. Now we're going to do this for 5 minutes. We're not going to do this for 20 minutes and have people just throwing stuff out. We're going to do something for 5 minutes. And I'm willing to do this because I'm a nice guy. We'll do 10 of them. I'll do 10 questions where all of you could see my hands. You see I'm not looking anything up. I'm going to offer something to everyone here. If you can stump me with a country in the world and I don't know their capital, I'll send you my college football and NFL and soccer futures for free. You'll get them for free. I won't charge anything for them. You can have them. So if you want them, they're already sent out. I've already handled them, and they'll be sent out to whoever gets on board. But you can get them early by right now stumping me. So I'll go through them. I'll have literally 2 seconds to answer. If you stump me, we'll write your name down. You can get in touch with me. Guyana, Georgetown. Tuvin, loser. He doesn't win. What is the capital of Canada? Canada. Sorry. The capital of Canada is Ottawa. So keep them coming if you want. New Caledonia. The capital. I actually know this because I researched this country last night. Noumea is the capital of New Caledonia. What else do we have here? Norway is Oslo. Oslo. Rosenborg, actually, if you know, today played Celtic. The capital, they're actually a team in Norway. Malta, the capital is Valletta. What else do we have here? I've already paid for the card, though. Well, again, that's why I'm only offering this to a couple of people. Nauru, the capital of Nauru. I don't believe that's a real country. Again, we're not going to count territories here. Nauru is in India. That's not it's not an actual country. So I'm not really sure where we're going with that one. Nauru is not a capital. If there's no capital, there's no country. It is a city. Tonga. Tonga's in the South Pacific. It's near Samoa. Uh, Nuku Alofe, I believe, something like that. It's near Fiji, Tonga, I believe. Nuku Alofa. We're not doing states. We're doing capital countries right now. Boom. Capital. What else do we have? Burma. Hmm. That's a tough one. Burma, actually, formerly Myanmar. If you know anything about the move to that Myanmar, it used to be Burma. It's now Myanmar. Um, fucking hell. Myanmar. That's a good one. I might not know that one actually. So, Greg, you're a winner so far. Um, yeah, we're not doing Mississippi, guys. What else do we have here? Bolivia. La Paz. La Paz is the capital of Bolivia. Fucking hell. Let's try to go through all these here. The capital of Angola. Angola in Africa. What else do we have? Angola. Uh, capital of Angola is Luanda, I believe. Uh, capital of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka over in the Asian Pacific. Sri Lanka. Um, fuck. I know this because in Sopranos, Janice went to Sri Lanka. She got a new name, Parvati. Um, I want to say though it's not Sri Lankan though. It doesn't sound Sri Lankan. Colombo, I want to say. Samaya Mogadishu. The Maldives. Wow, that's a great one. The Maldives, a beautiful place that I think a lot of people would love to go to. Um, that's a real good one. It's a small nation. It's not big. It's kind of in the same area where all those countries we just talked about are. Um, I that's a tough one. I don't know. That's a real tough one. Um, fuck, shit, man. I don't know. I don't know Maldives. That's a real tough one. Mali, that's West Africa. Uh, they're actually having some. I read recently they're having some ethnic tensions there due to their new presidential race. Mali is Bamako. Bamako. Mali over near it's near Guinea, Mauritania, that area, not far from Burkina Faso, Nigeria. That's where Mali is. Um, oh man, yeah, Wakanda, right? All right. I guess people are saying Nauru's a capital or a country. It's if it's a country, it's I don't know that it's recognized as one. I'm pretty smart. I didn't know that, but I'm not saying it's not. Moldova, Chisanu, Moldova, Ghana is Accra. Um, what else do we have? Sorry, my thing keeps messing up here. It keeps going down to the bottom. Hungary, Budapest. Good call, HDC. When it was Burma, when it was Burma, it was Rangoon. It's a good call. Mali, I already did. Where else are we going here? Mozambique. That's a good one. Mozambique, a country not many people talk about, kind of in the eastern part of Africa, over near Zimbabwe and Botswana, Madagascar, obviously off the coast. Um, Maputo, Maputo is Mozambique. It's an M name. Actually, a couple people have stumped me. We had two people stump me so far. We'll see if we can get a few more here. Montenegro, come on, man. I'm from the Balkans. Puerto Rico, Botswana, Bujumbura, I believe. What's the capital of Australia? Uh, Canberra. Canberra for sure. Australia, though, a tough one because a lot of people believe it's in Sydney, but no, it isn't. It's Canberra. We did Moldova already. Cambodia, Phnom Penh. I actually know that because I know plenty of Cambodians being near South Philly, and I actually used to work with a kid that was Cambodian. Suriname, that's a good one. Suriname, actually near Guyana in South America. It's actually next to French Guyana. If you're ever on a quiz show, Suriname, pretty small country, actually somewhat big, but small compared to the other countries in South America. Um, Suriname, fuck, Paramaribo, I believe, and that's the only country I know that in. That's the only city I know in in Suriname. All right, we'll do a couple more. We already did Montenegro. We already did Mozambique. We already did a lot of these. What's up, Trevor? Let's go through a couple more here. Ghana, we did Accra. Qatar is Doha. Botswana, we did. A capital of Kenya. Kenya. What is the capital of Kenya? I should know this because I just listened to a set of DJ Jazzy Jeff. He was in Kenya, Nairobi, I would think. I always get confused with some of the African countries because they do have, like, if you look at like Nigeria, a lot of people think it's Lagos. It's actually Abuja. So a lot of people get confused by the capital um, of that. Yep. So if you stump me, please get in touch with me on Twitter. If you stumped me, get in touch with me. Say your name, who you are. I will remember Greg, but I don't remember the other one. What else do we have here? We did Sri Lanka already. What else do we have here? Chad. That's a great one. Chad is not just the name of a guy, in America. Chad, which is in basically the desert, most of it. It's really just in the smack dab middle of Africa. It's to the west of Sudan. It's to the north of the South Sudan, and it's south of Libya. To the left, it's Niger. Chad's a tough one. Fuck. It's funny. I could probably name every country in Africa alphabetically. Capitals are tough. Chad, the capital of Chad is N'Djamena, I believe, something like that. Tough. Thanks, Salty Dog. All right, let's go through a couple more, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Laos, a country not far from Myanmar, which we've talked about. I want to say I read a story about Laos recently on Al Jazeera. I think something along the lines of they have bad flooding in Laos right now, which is very sad. Laos. Mary Mountain is in Laos. Mekong River is in Laos. Vientiane, Laos, capital. Should be right. Let's go through a couple more. Kiribati. Kiribati is a very small country. You guys are picking tough ones because you're picking countries that are republics, basically, and kind of islands. And I don't know if we consider Kiribati a country just to the fact that it's an atoll, basically. It's not really, I guess it's a country. I don't know. It is, I believe, owned by Australia or England or one of those. Kiribati, I don't know. I guess if we're considering those, you would stump me. Some of those, countries in the South Pacific and the Central Pacific, I'm pretty low on because they're so small. Some of them aren't even considered countries. French Guyana. We were just talking about Suriname. That's actually not far from West or French Guiana. It's actually to the east. Cayenne is the capital of French Guiana. Cayenne, like the Porsche. Uzbekistan. Oof, that's a good one. We'll go three more. Uzbekistan. That's down at that's down in Central Asia. It's a former Soviet republic. Tashkent, I believe. Tashkent. And I know that just because I'm good with Europe because I do a lot of soccer in Europe, and Uzbekistan is kind of right there. I mean, you have a lot of countries with Stan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, all those different ones. Chechnya, not far away, Georgia, Dagestan, all those places, not far away. Kyrgyzstan, actually very close. Kyrgyzstan with an interesting flag, always interesting. Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. We'll do one more. We'll go to this one. HDC, who is a fine world traveler, knows a lot about the world. He wants to ask about Namibia. Namibia, for anyone interested, is on the southwest side of Africa. It's basically got a desert. It's got a coast. It's got all sorts of fun stuff. It's known for its significant cheetah population, if I'm correct. Namibia. That's a tough one. I got to think about this for one little second here. It's either Swakopmund or Windhoek. I'm going to go with Windhoek. Windhoek. Should be right. Windhoek. There's two options, but it's Windhoek. I'll throw one more in for for shits and giggles. Paraguay, country landlocked by Brazil, Argentina, and Bolivia. Asuncion. There you go. And I bet you won't know. I bet you don't know what the currency of Paraguay is. Another piece of news for you: the Guarani, the Paraguayan Guarani. All right, let's wrap it up here. Let's go through some other things here. So we had some fun. If you stumped me, I think there were two or three. I probably answered like 20. I think two or three were able to stump me. Slovenia, Ljubljana. Vatican City is Vatican City. Indonesia, Jakarta. There's a lot of these I know already. But that's enough. We went through enough here, guys. Thanks for the great questions. Always interesting. And some were even able to stump me. So get in touch, and I'll get you those over right away. Let's go through some college football here. Just do some things here. Tomorrow I won't be on the air. I'm not going to do this every day, guys, until football starts. There's just not enough to talk about. But, we'll tomorrow be recording the second episode of the podcast that I created. If you missed the first episode, I urge you to check it out. It's on Spreaker. It's on my my Twitter page. If you're interested, check it out. Andre Schurrle was loaned to Fulham. That's good news. Good news for Fulham. He moves from Borussia Dortmund. That's great. You look at some college football totals. Just a couple teams that I'm particularly high on as the season comes. Clemson, very high on them for obvious reasons. Defensively, they're strong. I think both quarterbacks are terrific. Really excited about Clemson this year. Think they're a team that can surely win the whole thing. I've talked about Michigan time and time again. Boise, they're a team I think we really have to keep in mind of. I think they could be the best non-Power 5 team. Boise State, really good. Brian Harsin, never a guy that I'm completely trustworthy of. I don't like to really put my money in the hands of him, but I think coming in, this team is really exciting. I mean, Brett Rippon is terrific. Madison is a great receiver or a great running back. They went out and got some decent receivers, and defensively they're good. I mean, they always are. Have a lot of juniors and seniors on this defense. You look it up front. I mean, the front seven is full of juniors and seniors, and the secondary as well. Schedule's not overly difficult either. I think they're a team that will be the Power Five, the non-Power Five invitee to the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day stuff. You look at their schedule starting out. I mean, Troy they'll win, Connecticut they'll win. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Oklahoma State. Okie State's taking a bit of a step back. Then they get Wyoming. They get San Diego State at home, which is a big time game you get at home. You also get Fresno at home this year. So your two toughest games in that conference are at home. I'm really high on Boise State. Oh, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Frank. I agree, Larry. I think the only slip up could maybe be Okie State, just because of the talent that they have there. But again, I think that could be a real live dog there in the third week of the season. What's up, Demetrius? Welcome in. Thanks for listening. Um, South Carolina will be good. I agree. I think South Carolina will be a team that'll be very underrated. I actually talked about them yesterday with Gabe Morency on the radio, on his radio show. I think they're a team that could really throw a wrench in some teams' plans down in the SEC. Will Muschamp, he's always going to have a good defense. I think Jake Bentley takes a major step forward this season. Rico Dowdy, a terrific junior running back, but the big player on South Carolina that you have to get to know, Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel coming off an injury last year, but this kid is incredible. One of the best receivers in the college game. Really good. I mean, really, really good. I would rank South Carolina just outside the top 25. I think they'll find a way to really kind of get back in there fairly early. I'm very high on this team. 2016, uh, Rico or Debo Samuel had 59 catches for over 700 yards. He was very good in the return game as well. Had a return touchdown. Had a couple return touchdowns last year before going out with an injury. It's funny. Many people ask Debo Samuel where he got the name Debo. And he actually got the nickname from his father, who was a fan of the movie Friday. And if you've ever watched Friday, Debo from the movie. So there you go. A little bit of interesting stuff there. You're a class above handicapper. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it, man. UConn put Boise on their schedule. Yep, agreed. But yeah, I mean, there's some really interesting stuff, and I don't want to give everything away because the season is still a few weeks away, actually over a month away. But football's coming, guys. I mean, NFL training camp is started. I mean, we have our first first preseason game, next week. So it's exciting. It's exciting time. It's exciting time to be alive. I'm a Clemson grad, but taking South Carolina over 7 wins. Yeah, I agree. I think they're a team that can really surprise this year. And you look at this schedule. I mean, they're really talented in offense, and you always know that Will Muschamp's going to have a really good defense. I mean, that's something you can kind of hone in on. They get Coastal Carolina out of the gate. They'll beat them by 35. You get Georgia then. You're going to lose to Georgia. But then you get Marshall. You get them at home. You'll beat Marshall. There's 2 wins. I think you'll beat Derek Mason in South Carolina. There's 3 wins. In Kentucky, always tough, but I think that's a winnable game. There's 4. I think they'll lose to Missouri and Texas A&M. I think they can very much beat Tennessee. That's 5. Ole Miss has improved, but I think they'll beat the Rebels. That's 6. They'll beat Chattanooga 7. They're going to have to win a game between Florida and Missouri and Texas A&M. If they can find a way to win a game there, I think they'll achieve it. But 7 is a tough number, especially when you play Clemson, Georgia, Florida. I mean, you do avoid Alabama and Auburn, but I mean, setting up that last game of the season, the border war basically against Clemson, that's a tough way to end the season. So they'll be bowl eligible. That's one thing. Do I like Tennessee or Purdue? Purdue is a team that will take a bit of a step back this year, but I think, and I've talked about this, College football and college basketball is all about coaching, and they knocked out the park. They knocked it out of the park with the hire that they made. Jeff Brom is a terrific coach, and we saw that last year. But you look at this team coming back. There's some talent here. I mean, David Blau and Sindelar were terrific. They have to figure out who the quarterback is, though. Markel Jones is a senior. Markel Jones is a really high level running back. I think defensively they're going to have to obviously get it going, but I think they're going to win some games this year. You look at this schedule. Let's see if they avoid anyone in the. I haven't looked at their schedule fully yet. You get Northwestern out of the gate. That's a tough game. I think they'll beat Eastern Michigan. Should be able to beat Boston College, but do have a tough out of conference schedule. You got to play Missouri as well. But both those games against Missouri and BC are at home. They play their first 4 games at home. So that's a real nice leg up. You definitely front loaded the schedule at home. Got to go to Nebraska. You got to find ways to win those kind of toss-up games. I think Scott Frost will get it going there, but I think they can beat Nebraska. They'll beat Illinois. They'll lose to Ohio State, Michigan State. I think Iowa is a team to really look out for. Iowa's an interesting team in the Big Ten this year because their schedule, Iowa, is literally a joke. I mean, they don't play anyone. Like when I say they don't play anyone, they literally don't play anyone other than like Wisconsin and Penn State. Like you look at the schedule for Iowa, Northern Illinois at home, Iowa State at home, Northern Iowa at home. Okay, so they'll win those games. You get Wisconsin at home. It's winnable. Then you get Minnesota, Indiana, Maryland, Penn State. By the way, Penn State on the road. That's a loss probably. But this schedule is not very difficult. It's not out of the question to say that Iowa could be a team at the end of the season that we're talking about a playoff. There was a couple years ago, Iowa had a really easy schedule. And I know they were ranked towards the top. And people were like, oh, they're a fraud. They're not going to win shit. They ended up not winning shit. And they're always going to have a really shitty schedule. But you look at this schedule, there's not a lot to worry about on the schedule overall. Playoffs a bit of a stretch, but would it be out of the question to think they can win all these games? I don't think it is. Tennessee. Look, if you know me, you know I'm not a Tennessee guy. I just don't like the athletic program in general. I think it's horribly overrated. But listen, I mean, I think they're a team that. Do I think they can compete with the SEC? No, I don't. Sorry. I don't put them in. I like Pruitt, though. Jeremy Pruitt is one of those guys that you ask, did you make the right hire? I think they did. I mean, they went through a lot to make the hire, but they made the hire. And Jeremy Pruitt is a really interesting character. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt is a guy that has really just made an unbelievable ascent into football. I mean, this is a guy that started out in low-level high school. I mean, this was a guy who, and this is kind of dating people, but if you're in my age group, there was a show on MTV many years ago, about maybe like 2000, early 2000s. It was called Two-A-Days, and at the time, Jeremy Pruitt was the defensive coordinator at Hoover. It was early 2000s, like 2003-ish, that kind of area, and he kind of made his ascent. I mean, he went to Hoover. Hoover, by the way, is a very high level program in Alabama. Goes to Hoover, then he gets on board as like a player coordinator development of something of sorts in Alabama. Then he goes to Florida State. Then he goes to Georgia. Then he goes back to Alabama to be the DC, and now he's in Tennessee. So he's made a crazy ascent up the ladder. What's up, Nick Knoll? I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well, man. But you look at the talent on this team. I think we saw stretches from Guarantano last year. He was kind of battling out with others to be the guy there. There's still some question marks on kind of who's going to be starting for them defensively. I need to see a bit more from some of their practices, hear how they're going. I haven't looked a ton into Tennessee. I would think they'd improve on last year. I mean, they didn't win a game in conference last year. With a new coach, with a new kind of lease on life, I think they quit at times last year. The season last year was very tumultuous. The offseason was weird. They knocked the ball out of the park with this hire. We'll see how long it takes for them to develop some talent. Problem is, it's so difficult to recruit. I mean, because you're gonna, if you get a really good recruit, he's not going to go to Tennessee. I mean, that's just. I mean, if I'm a really good recruit, why would I go to Tennessee? I'm going to go to Alabama. But we'll see. I know Guan White's a big Tennessee fan, so hopefully, we get Guan White some good stuff there from his team. Boston College, yeah, interesting. I mean, AJ Dillon is really good. I mean, I'm not going to knock you on that, but that's been the common theme with them. They had a guy a couple years ago named Andre Williams at Boston College. He was a terrific running back. Played for a couple years in the NFL with the Giants. Anthony Brown's solid. They kind of tried to do a little bit more up tempo last year. I think they'll be typical Boston College. Very good on the defensive side of the ball, and just kind of move the ball through the air and on the ground, but struggle to score at times. Just kind of get athletically dominated at times against some of the better teams in the conference. But AJ Dillon will keep them in games. He's that good of a player, so keep that in mind. But I don't look at them, and I'm not concerned about them really making. I mean, they'll start the season out well. I mean, they get UMass and Holy Cross. They'll start out 2-0, but then you get a tough out of conference game against Temple thrown in there, Purdue. You got to go to NC State. You got to go play Clemson. You got to play Miami. You got to play Louisville. You got to go to Vatech. You got to go to Florida State. That's a tough schedule if you're Boston College. There's not a lot there. They're definitely challenging themselves, but I think a bowl game is really going to be tough for them this year. They're going to have to really surprise, because you look at those first two games, they're winnable. It's a possibility that Boston College may not win another game. What is their win total? The book that I'm on right now is not listing them. Their win total is 5.5. Yeah, that's a bit too high. I would go under. I don't see 4 wins here. Maybe 4. I definitely don't see 5. I think 3 is going to be tough. I think you can beat UMass. You'll beat Holy Cross. I think the fringe games are Wake, Purdue, Syracuse. That game at the final game of the season, that could be a win total difference there for you. That's tough. That's a tough one. I would lean under if I was a Boston College guy, in my opinion. We'll do a couple more questions here, then we'll wrap it up. Sleeper team in the ACC. One of my least favorite conferences. I don't know. Let me think here. Obviously, Miami and Clemson are sleepers. I mean, fuck, man. I think Louisville takes a step back. I know everyone wants to anoint them, but I don't know about Jawan Pass. I mean, that's big shoes to fill. Defensively, Louisville was bad last year. I want to see Pittsburgh maybe. I think Pittsburgh takes a bit of a step forward. I think with all the starters back, they could be pretty good defensively. And I think finally Pat Narduzzi might have a decent team, particularly on the defensive end. But they have a tough schedule, so it's hard to get involved with them. But I do like Kenny Pickett. I think he could be a good player there for them. Maybe UNC. I mean, they had such a stark need for talent last year after losing so many players in 16 that they fell to 3-9 and really a bit of a laughing stock. I guess could they get back to a bowl game? Maybe, but they're another team with major defensive questions. Cam Phillips is going for Vatech, so I'm not rolling the bet on them. I would probably say Wake. I mean, Wake is a team that I thought last year really kind of changed up everything they did. But can Kendall Hinton be the next good player at Georgia or at Wake Forest? And towards the end of the year, they got shredded defensively last year. There's a lot of bad defenses in the American or the Atlantic Coast Conference. Obviously Florida State, they kind of behind Miami and everyone else. Clemson, Florida State kind of just sits there, and Florida State's always going to get a look from people. New coach, Willie Taggart coming in, Jimbo Fisher, the days are gone for him. You look at the talent in this team. There's some talent here. I mean, if Deandre Francois can stay healthy, I mean, these running backs are as good as it gets. I mean, Cam Akers and Jock Patrick are good, really good. Naquan Murray is a terrific receiver. We know you're going to get recruits. You look up front, Brian Burns, really good junior end for Taggart. I mean, I got to look more into them. I mean, losing Derwin James is tough. You're losing Josh Sweat is tough. Losing guys like that is tough. But there's some talent here in Florida State, and I wouldn't totally count them out. You look at Florida State, win total 7.5. Let's take a look at their schedule quickly and see where we're kind of going with them. 7.5 is not ridiculous. The problem with Florida State is, can we get a season where they're completely healthy? It seems like since Jameis Winston left, this team has not been able to have any sort of consistency offensively because they always get injuries. First game of the year, Vautech. I think they'll beat Vautech at home on the September 3rd. Then you get Samford. That's an auto win. So you start out 2-0. Then you got to go up to Carrollton and face Syracuse. Tough game always, but it's a win. That's 3-0. Northern Illinois. Look, you always like what the Huskies do, but they got to travel, so you just generally don't like it. There's a huge golf and talent on Northern Illinois, so there's 4 wins. I think Louisville's winnable. It's probably going to be one of those middle of the week type of games. Let me see when that game is. I'll be curious to see. September 29th is a Saturday, so it's not in the middle of the week. I'm going to go out and say I think that's a win. So I think they start off the season 5-0. I think they'll lose to Miami, which I'm actually thinking about going to that game. I'm either going to go to the Florida State Miami game or the Clemson Florida State game. I'm trying to kind of come to terms on what I want to do. I think they'll lose to Miami, so they're 5-1. I think they'll beat Wake 6-1. Clemson they'll lose to, that's 6-2. But it is in Florida State. They get Clemson at home. You never know. Then you have to beat Boston College 7. So you have to beat NC State, Notre Dame, or Florida to get to that 8 wins. I think they get to 8 or 9 wins. I think it's not in the question to think that they can lose 1 or 2 games. They look good this year. I'm not going to say they don't. I think they look solid. They're a team that I've kind of had my eye on. The concern with them is, can they stay healthy? Can Francois give you a full season? Because I think when healthy, DeAndre is a really good quarterback. So, we'll see. But I'm kind of high on them. I agree. I think they bounce back as well. Georgia Southern, under 5.5. This is the last one we'll do, and then we're going to wrap it up. Georgia Southern finally made a move to get Tyson Summers out of there. Thank God. What a mess he was. I think they did. I believe they did. They were 2-10 last year, which, as we know, was a bit of a mess. I don't know. I got to look more into Georgia Southern. I'm not a big Sun Belt guy much anymore. I like Arkansas State, obviously, but I mean, the Georgia Southern we once knew is dead and gone. I think they have some decent running backs, though. Like Wesley Fields is a good running back. Shea Wirtz showed some flashes last year, but they don't throw the ball. I got to look more into their defense. So I can't necessarily answer Georgia Southern right now, but I am excited about seeing how they kind of bounce back. Let's wrap it up here. Do I have an opinion on the Sounders game? No, I don't. Are you saying take them? Yeah, I don't really. I'm not the only. I have one MLS game, and I'm not on that game. Good luck though. Yeah, they were a big bet against last year. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for checking us out here. My favorite college football team. I don't have a favorite. I'm going to root for Temple. I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm a big Temple basketball fan. I root for Temple. They're kind of my home school. But football, for me, college football has always been kind of a betting sport for me. So I don't really have a favorite. There are teams I root for. I like Navy. I'm wearing a Navy football shirt right now. I'm a big backer of the Naval Academy. Want to see the military schools do well. I think Ken does a great job down in Annapolis. So I would probably say, and it's funny because they're in the same conference, but Navy's intriguing to me. I like watching the military academies, but Temple would probably be my team. Other than that, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for checking us out today. I'll take a shot tonight with a few baseball games. I'm going to take the Oakland Athletics, and I'm going to take the Boston Red Sox. We'll see if we can get another 2-0 here. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for checking us out. We will see you later.